Today I am at Outlook Terminal. I'm on the move and I will be exploring an area of Panama that I have not seen before. So sit tight and watch and I'll tell you everything you need to know about how to get around in Panama. So now we want to talk about how do you get around in Panama. When you arrive, you've made your travel arrangements, and hopefully, some people do, some don't. You've made arrangement for someone to pick you up from the airport, but that's okay. If you didn't, Uber works here beautifully. So you can order Uber. You may have to pull your luggage in a specific spot. And if you ask any of the guys that are outside the airport or a security guard, they will tell you where you can catch the Uber. Because, there's a little bit of turf war going on, and the taxis who are, locally owned, and they have large companies. Sometimes there is a little something going on between them and the Uber drivers, so you may have to go to a specific spot. But Uber, I recommend, is the best, safest way for you to get from the airport to your Airbnb or hotel where that you've already booked, right? There are also other transport companies, vans that do that kind of work and pick up people from the airport. If you need a couple of names, we are very happy to share with you the ones that we have worked with and that people have been very happy with. Okay? So don't get into a taxi. There are stories of people being overcharged. There are horror stories from people taking a taxi from like Mexico City or Acapulco. So don't do that. In terms of other means of transport in Panama, since you came by plane, we want you to know that, of course, Copa Airline is the carrier that a lot of us use, but people use American Airline, United, and some other ones that I'm not familiar with because I've always flown Copa when I come here. Also, there is, I think, Panama Air or a couple of other regional airlines that would take you from Panama City to places like David or Bocas del Toro, okay? And people fly to places like Colombia very easily, very cheaply. Some people go there to get medications. And I think I'm going to do a video about medications that sometimes it could be a bit of a challenge. But in terms of from the airport to your Airbnb, Uber or pre-arranged transport. Got that? Great. Now, once you get into your Airbnb, into your Airbnb, how do you go get food? How do you go, if you've scheduled some tours, they're going to pick you up. But since now you're a resident, we're not talking about touring. We're talking about how do you get around? Make sure you have Uber, the Uber app on your phone. And, with the phone, you can get a SIM card from the airport, but that's usually a bit expensive. So if you're going to get it, just get it for maybe a day or two. And then when you come, you go to a local carrier and get your SIM for really cheap as you're signing up for your phone service. All right. So Uber, everywhere you go, if you first come to this city, because you're pretty much going to land in Panama City, Uber everywhere, okay? But once you become a little bit more acclimated and you become a little bit seasoned and you can get your way around, there are other ways to get around in the city. And if you're on a budget, like someone like myself, I use Uber. Uber is my third option. My first option in this city right now is taking the metro. And then sometimes I take the buses, but I don't like to take the buses so much. Last year I did, but the service has become poor. They have like over 400 buses that are not working, in need of repair. And what happens is that there is a long wait between when they're scheduled to come and when they do show up, which means you have lines of people. And then when you get on the bus, it's tight and, it's flu season. You don't want somebody so much in your space. So the metro is much better, even though you should still wear your mask if it's tight, like during rush hours. Yes, the metro is going to be packed. But if you catch the metro during off hours, let's say you want to run some errands, you want to go to the store, just leave your house like after 9 and then make sure you're home before like 3 because on the metro and the buses, a lot of the students ride the same buses and train and the metro. So it tends to be a little bit packed. Okay. So how do you sign up to start using the Metro? There is a Metro card, and I'm going to put a picture of my Metro card for you to see, and you probably see it now. You go to the terminal or certain specific designated spaces where you buy a Metro card for $2 and then you load it up. I suggest you can start with $5, but for those of us who've been here, we load it up for like $20. And then you start using it, and every time you swipe it or scan it, it will tell you how much you have left. And then you know never to run out again because it's kind of embarrassing when you get on the bus and then you're scanning. It's like, that means not enough money, NSF, non-sufficient fund. It doesn't say non-sufficient fund, it just says you don't have enough. And many times myself, if someone is in front of me and it goes, I don't have it, I'm like, okay, senora, no, ningún problema. I just scan it for them and let them go. And then they'll say, here's your the 25 cents they want to give me. I'm like, oh, no se preocupe, está bien, está bien. So, and then when you come here and you need help with that, I will help you. So you use your Metro card for both the Metro and also for the bus. Okay. And I saw signs on the little pad that says you can use your Visa card, credit card. If you run out of money on your card, you can just tap your Visa card and there you go. So that's pretty cool. Now, if you want to travel outside of Panama City to go to the interior, which is what I did last year, and you want to go to a place that is like 2, 3 hours away, then you could use the same card, but some people have like the basic card and then they have the other card that you need to use, which is, I only use the one. And then you need that card. You buy your ticket with money, cash or credit card, but you need the card to get into the area where the buses are going to be leaving from. If you're moving, let's say if you want to travel to Boquete, you want to travel to David or to any other places using the long, comfortable regional buses, you're going to need that card to get into the area. The first time I was going last year, I was going to a place to travel, and then I used my old simple card. And and I'm like looking at this young man, and I'm like, ¿Qué pasó? And he said, oh, no, no, you need the other card. So he told me where to go get the card. So I went, $2 again, got the card, and then came back. It goes ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, ¿Qué pasó? I bought the card. He's like, well, did you charge? Did you put money on it? I'm like, oops. So I had to go back. You gotta laugh at yourself. I didn't know. So now I know to use that one card. I can use it in the city and to go to the interior. Now, that doesn't mean that card, you're gonna be able to buy your bus tickets with it once you leave Panama City. You just use the card to just get into the area. And then you pay your money. You can either buy the ticket through one of those little windows, you call them caja, or a lot of these buses, if it's not going too far, you get on, and then there's always an attendant There's a driver and there's somebody that's standing at the door. Every stop, they get off or they yell where they go, people get on and off, and they're the one taking the money. Okay? It's just fun to do. So when you get here and you want to learn how to do that, I got you. Okay? So, Metro for me, I love it. The only problem we have two Metro lines, line one and line two. There's a place, there's a transfer spot where you can go from line one to line two, which goes way north to the city and by the airport. Now they've added a spot that stops right there at the airport itself, which means if you're traveling and you have like a backpack or maybe a small carry-on, you don't need to use Uber to get to the airport, like 35 cents. I forgot to say, the cost to ride the bus in the city is 25 cents. And if you take the metro, it's 35 cents. Where else are you going to travel for that kind of money? If you're from New York City or from the Atlanta or any other major city in the US, you know how much you pay, right? 25 cents? Yeah, I'll take it every day. Okay. So some of the little buses, well, you have the big buses in the city that go back and forth. But based on where you're going regionally, like if you're going to a place like La Chorrera, which is like about an hour away, it's gonna be like $1.50. You know, some of them are $3. It's really reasonable. It's not that expensive. All right. We talk about the buses, the issue with the buses now, and how they very fewer them on the road, and it's really crazy. Well, we also have the Diablo Rojo, which are the old school buses that used to be the mode of transportation in the city. And apparently, they told me that one of the past presidents upgraded the bus system. So now the buses are like uh, Isuzu, Volvo, Mercedes. I mean, they're not really cheap, brand buses. They're really good buses. But, they need maintenance and breakdowns, and apparently they have some issues with the maintenance and all that. We have some issues in Panama, like everywhere else, okay? All right, so buses, metro. Oh, the metro, line one, line two. Now, there is an area in Panama called Panama Oeste that is growing by leaps and bounds. Lots of people, infrastructure concern, issues, transportation is a major issue there. So now they have line three in development. It's going to be done like next year. So we're going to have line three going to Panama Oeste. So people who live in Arahan, La Chorrera, they're going to be able to go by bus. But right now, it's really hard for those folks. They have to get up very early. And with these buses being really, the schedule being bad, it's really a struggle. Now, the Diablo Rojo, I was telling you, they got rid of most of them, but they still have a few of them that you can't miss them. And I'll put a picture of them here. They're very decorated up to the yin yang. They don't have AC. They're very loud. The music is loud. So the workers, sometimes if they can't find room or they can't wait for the buses who are running so late, they're going to the Diablo Rojo. Well, I got on the Diablo Rojo a couple of times. It's like, I had to experience that. It was an experience. I think I've been on two of them. So that's something you're going to have to do, sis. And some people are like, huh? Diablo Rojo, some of us are so uppity. I'm not uppity. I'm all for it, and I want to experience it all. So I got on the Diablo Rojo. And on the weekend, some of them turn into party buses where they have the alcohol flowing, they have the music, kind of. I can't go on one of those because I'm vintage. I have to protect my hearing, so I'm not gonna go where the music is so loud. But yeah, so they still have a few of the Diablo Rojo. And that's the essence of Panama. So if you take the Diablo Rojo off totally, something's going to be missing. And then when they come around, the driver always pulls the horn, blah, blah. And I'm like, why do you need to pull the horn? Because everybody can see you coming, just out of habit. Remember, Panama and noise, it's a marriage. They go together. So Got to get used to it. Bring your earplugs. Okay, we talked about the buses, the metro. My least favorite mode of transportation in Panama are the taxis. There are a lot of taxis, and they're always catcalling you. So if they see you walking the streets like I do, I'm in those streets almost every day, and they're coming back there, they start blowing the horn to get your attention to see if you need a taxi. And I'm like, if I needed you, I would have flagged you. Stop it. But they still do it. They're very cheap. You can get a taxi for $1.50. The issue with them is they drive crazy. And I find from experience, they never know where you're going if you're going someplace that is not really close to where they're at. So they're kind of, I say regional, but they're like they sit in a certain little area. So if you're going like a mile out somewhere really close by, they will take you there. Otherwise, you're gonna have to communicate in Spanish, saying, "Do you know?" And many times, if you say, "I'm going there," they don't understand or they don't know where it is. They'll say no. But some of them will say yes, but still don't know how to to get there. So many times I have to give him directions as to where to take me. So I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And especially they do aggressive driving in the city. Maybe we'll do another video. You take your life in your hand. Those Diablo Rojos, they're always flipping because they're always going above the speed limit. We have had, I was looking in the news today, like 169 fatalities this year alone of people being hit or cars flipping. Some of the accidents are horrible. They don't obey the traffic rules. They go over the speed limit. They're on their phone texting. We don't have laws about that here. Okay, so you got to know what you're getting yourself into. And even the Uber, some of them drive aggressively. And when they ask for your review, I tell them, and I'm like, yeah, that guy was driving too aggressive. I do that. You should too. And some of them drive crazy too, but not as bad as the taxis. So taxis are cheap, aggressive driving, not knowing where to take you. Don't take a taxi coming from the airport. They're going to overcharge you. Okay? Now, some people have private drivers. There are some people who are multitaskers. They do tours, but they also do transportation. If you want to visit an area, they'll take you. If you want to go to on a tour to go see some sites, they'll take you. But they also will do private pickups. Let's say you say, I'm going to the doctor. Can you come get me? Or once you know somebody, you get their number, you say, I'm going to the airport. Will you take me? And they're usually more reasonable. And that's what most of us do. I take an Uber, but I could also use a private driver. I have a friend who has some mobility issues, and she has I say private driver. He does Ubering and other things, but if she has to go somewhere, she'll call him or text him and say, come pick me up. And it's been working really well for her. So if you have mobility issues and you need that, they don't have handicap lifts, anything like that. Panama is not handicap friendly. You need to know that, right? And but if somebody has a van and you use a walker and you can get up and down, you might be able to manage. If you have a wheelchair, then they need to have a regular car and you need to be able to transfer back and forth. Yeah, it comes in the territory. There was a presidential candidate whose wife was really looking into the handicap issue in the city, and I was really excited, but they didn't win. So I don't know what this new administration, we're getting a new president on July 1st. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm just hoping and praying. I've only been here a few months and there is so much I want to get to know people so I can bring certain things to their attention. It's like, hey, we have people with, handicap and mobility issues. Your buses, the public buses do not have a handicap lift. So you can't say, they're going to lift you and then park your wheelchair. But I have seen some bus drivers stop the bus and go out and assist somebody to get on and off the bus, which is really commendable. It's beautiful. So we'll do another video about driving in Panama, which is a scary proposition, but I still want to get a car. I've been here. I came back in November of last year, and I miss not having a car, especially if I go shopping and I'm carrying stuff. I mean, some people say, yes, you could just do Uber for everything, but I miss not driving. But so we'll see. So we talked about the airport. We talked about the regional. If you want to go to Bocas del Toro, I encourage you to fly because it's a long ride. We're in rainy season. The roads are slick and sometimes the roads are underwater and that could be a danger. So I don't want to do any of my regional bus driving to anywhere in this weather because it can get bad. Plus, we still have occasional protests where people, and that's another video to explain to you what happens there, where they just block the road and nobody can go through. So if you're on a bus, you're stuck. We talked about taxis. No, no, no. We talked about Uber. Beautiful, very affordable. Some people say they've had Uber rides for $2. I haven't had that, but it's like usually $3, $3.54. Regional buses, and they're usually beautiful buses. I'll also put a picture of that for you to see with AC, double decker, very comfortable. It might be long, like going to Boquete could be like 7 hours. You get to David, then another bus to Boquete. And I know a lot of people want to go to Boquete because it's pretty and it's cooler than Panama City, which is fine. Regional buses, transport, private transport, chauffeurs. So have no fear. You can get around. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say is that certain neighborhoods do not have metro stops. So we have 2 lines, we'll have 3, and I think we'll have 4. But like San Francisco, which is a very popular spot with expats, they don't have metro stops there. So you have to rely on Uber or a bus, the buses. So, all right, sis, I hope this was helpful. But I do want you to know that if you come to Panama, you're going to be able to get around. You're not going to get stuck. And accidents happen, but accident happens everywhere. So don't let that stop you. Be bold, take that step, and come hang out with us. All right? I will see you soon, and I'll see you when you get here to Panama. Bye-bye. Discovering Panama. Imagine just taking a walk on a balmy afternoon and you come across this group of the Guna people doing a traditional dance. Just because it's Panama, this is how we do it. Joie de vivre, dancing, enjoying life, just having fun. Discovering Panama with Maggie.